And welcome back to the Nightly Sports Call. Again, Jeff Hathhorn in for the guys here tonight. And we're taking your calls at 412-575-2600. And a busy night of sports going on. We want to get your thoughts on a bunch of different things. Pitt, Penn State, their performances, what the Steelers did. Hey, and the Pirates playing some young guys as well. We'll talk about all of that. We'll also mention a trade we'll discuss later that the Patriots made a trade to help themselves out at receiver. Let's start with Mike on the south side. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Jeff. I'm really disappointed on some play calling by Coach Narduzzi or lack of their play calling. Go after a punt. They're punting the ball away late in the first half before halftime. Go after the punter. The worst that could have happened was they roughed the punter.
Well, Mike, let me ask you this. Do you think they were intentionally being vanilla to be afraid of showing anything?
I guess, but to me, I would show them everything. I'd give them so much stuff to think about.
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
I'm a believer of the exact opposite. Give them so much, Jeff. Give them so much to think about up there that they don't know if you're coming or going. That vanilla thing almost cost them a game, and in theory, it should have really cost them a game. I'm surprised Youngstown State didn't go for a 2-point conversion there late, and they probably would have won the game.
Although they probably felt like they were in control, Mike. What do you think about next week?
I'm figuring they're due for I didn't think that they could ever beat Clemson, and they did. I suspect that they'll have some pride and show a good game, but they're due for a big thump, and Penn State's been looking for them for quite some time. So,
Mike, appreciate the call. Let's get I believe is a Penn State fan, Al on the West End. Hey, Al, what's up?
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Jeff, every week they have those polls come out, and you always hear their media do their preseason stuff. And if you look at all the games, honestly, all the heavyweights struggled. You look at all the talk, all the favorites. If you do a poll subjectively on Monday, the top three teams Monday should be Clemson, Penn State, and Oklahoma. All the heavyweights have struggled this weekend. They were behind at half. Everybody overlooked Penn State. Can you name anybody who looks better than Penn State other than Clemson and Oklahoma?
I want to give benefit of the doubt to Alabama and Florida State because those are two good teams playing each other, and I think the winner of that game should be in that mix as well, and maybe even the loser because it's been a tight, hard-nosed game. But I get what you're saying. I've been watching
the game, but they have a loss. I'm tired of the committee picking favorites.
But
if you're undefeated, then you should be ahead of the team with one loss. I don't care how close the game is, you lost.
Here's the beauty of it, though. If Penn State wins out with their schedule, they don't need to worry about any of this. They're in.
Yeah, what happened to them last year when they won the conference?
Well, yeah, but they didn't have any. They had losses. They had 2 losses, including.
And the team that got in, who they beat, got in. I don't trust the system.
Well, you know what? Penn State doesn't lose twice. They get in. That's the thing. That's the thing that they can control. And that's what, for all the complaining and all, you can take that out of the mix by winning all of your games. And they didn't do that last year. They were a great football team. And I would say that Penn State at the end of the year last year was playing as well as anyone. And I would have liked to have seen what would have happened if they would have gotten in that Final Four just to see where that level was. And it looks like they've picked right back up where they were last year. Again, against a average at best Akron team. So there's still something to be judged from that as well. Let's go to Brad in Duncanville. Hey, Brad.
Hi, Jeff. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. I like your tie.
Thank you.
I have a Steeler question for you and some good news for you. The Steeler question is, what do you think about T.J. Ward signing with the Steelers? Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know. And you're talking about the safety from Denver. Who knows? I don't know if they have another one in them, but, I didn't see them making 2 deals today. So there's still some time. We'll see if they feel like they want another safety. I think the evaluation of Jordan Dangerfield's ankle is going to be big on that decision.
And my good news is that I'll be coaching soccer for a school district in Hollidaysburg, assistant coaching.
That part I didn't get, but that's okay. Let's go to Bill in Lawrenceville. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the T.J. Ward thing, too. The guy kind of stole my thunder. But how is it that the Riverhounds were on TV today, but you couldn't see Pitt Football on local broadcasting?
That's a great question. I don't know. We were discussing that earlier in the newsroom. I don't know how they don't get on some channel or one of those retro channels. I don't know why you don't see Pitt Football there. I don't get it. I guess I would only say this. If someone thought they could make money at it, they would do it, and they don't feel like they could have in that game. Now, the good thing is you won't have to worry about finding them on TV the next couple of weeks. They're going to be right in the heat of it, obviously, this coming week, or next week, technically, against Penn State. And then the Oklahoma State game will be on television. But, yeah, it's a great point. I don't know how it's not on TV. You get small colleges that are on TV, and how the Panthers aren't on TV are a joke. But I will tell you from my employer, you can listen to them on 93.7 The Fan. 412-575-2600. Let's go to Dave. Hey, Dave.
Yes, hi. Hey, just a comment. People are so fickle. Although today's win for Pitt was very unimpressive, and I'm the first person to admit that, this reminds me a lot of last year. The Villanova game was a very unimpressive win as well, even though it was by more points and it was a shutout, or I believe it was a 21-point win. But, the following week against Penn State, the offense just came to life and really threw Penn State for a loop. And I think that, with that way of thinking, went into today's play calling, and I think it's going to pay off next week. Now, it may not pay off with a victory, but I certainly think you're going to see a more lively Pitt team next week.
And Dave, and I would say for the optimists, I would look at that there was a very vanilla play calling, and that they came out in the second half and thought they had it won it and just played on cruise control. And they're not going to do that next week, or they're not going to do that against Oklahoma State because they know they can't. So I really don't know, and I think, Dave, a lot of fans don't know what this Pitt team really is. I mean, is it because of those reasons, or were they a team that struggled against a FCS, albeit very good, FCS team? Let's go to Matt, Morningside. Hey, Matt.
Jeff, how are you this evening?
Matt.
Thank you
How
for
are you?
taking my call.
You're welcome.
All right, real quick, at the end of the Pirate game tonight, Jeff, about this organization. They haven't won a playoff series since 1979. This season, another disaster. 26 games ago, they're 12 out in the loss column. Why do those three knuckleheads in the outfield, after they win a game, they converge in short center field, they start doing breakdancing moves, they're striking poses? I don't understand that whatsoever. They accomplish absolutely nothing, and they act like that. I know the old way of thinking is the manager is the captain of the ship, but does Hurdle have any influence until those guys play the game respected like the class organizations do, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, and the Giants? That's all I have to say.
All right. Listen, I get your point of view, and I realize that you're an old school and you don't like to see that. Every team does it. Watch them all. They all do it, and it was a win tonight. The Pirates won. They celebrated after a win. They didn't celebrate during the game. They pretty much played hard, which they hadn't always in this 4-game losing streak. They found a way to get a win, and one of their young guys hit a 3-run homer. I'm not going to rip them tonight. I mean, you can rip them for a lot of things, but for celebrating after a win, after losing 4 in a row and the kind of season it's been, let them celebrate. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't bad. We'll take more of your calls. 412-575-2600. We continue on the Nightly Sports Call.